Mic check. Mic check.
Hello.
Hey,
You're good. Hello and welcome to AOX Wrestling. For the pay-per-view, if I can speak tonight, for the pay-per-view recap of SummerSlam 2001, August 19, 2001. It is now August 19, 2021, the 20th anniversary review episode. I'm Perry.
I'm Eli.
Eli.
That guy's and Frank.
And I'm Eli. I mean Frank. I'm Eli.
All Eli.
We're here to
Today.
talk about the WWF pay-per-view, WWF SummerSlam 2001, live from August 19th, 2001,
2001.
from San Jose, California, at the Compaq Center. So, let me move my camera a little bit. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so this show opened up with Edge versus Lance Storm for the Intercontinental title. And Lance Storm was the Intercontinental Champion. So, yeah, there were some crazy spots in this one. Basic wrestling match. Christian accidentally, well, he ran in to spear Lance Storm, but not really. Like, this was the beginning of the Christian turning heel on Edge. Christian accidentally spears Edge before he pins Lance Storm. Lance Storm goes for the pin. Edge kicks out. Edge does whatever he does, and he gets Lance Storm. I totally forgot what he did to him at the end, but he got him. Edge wins the Intercontinental title. I think for the first time. I'm not sure. We got Jesus in the chat room. What's up?
Yo.
What'd you think about the match? Anthony showed up later on, so Eli, what'd you think of this match? Lance Storm versus Edge for the Intercontinental Championship.
Good technical match. Edge and Lance Storm kind of like the prime in their prime technical guys. This was Lance. This was Lance Storm's first title in WWE. And this is the first time he lost it. And I think you were right in saying that this was Edge's first time winning the belt because I don't think he won any singles titles before this. So, yeah, really, really cool. This is kind of one of Edge's like defining moments. Him starting his way up in WWE and everything like that. So it was a great match. It was fun. Great winner.
Frank, what'd you think?
It was a great opener. It was kind of overshadowed by the rest of the show, but it was still good. It wasn't like obviously the best or the most standout match, but it was a decent match. It wasn't too long. It was fine. I liked it.
Then we had the Dudleys backstage interview where the Dudleys and Tess called Michael Cole a little bitch, and they talked about how they're going to beat the fuck out of Spike Dudley. Then we had a backstage segment. Hockey fan, what is up?
Oh,
The rest was history for Edge. Yeah, there's some Edge and Lita and Matt Hardy stuff on the show, by the way. Cam, how you doing, man? Then we had Jericho talking to Lillian Garcia about Stephanie being a slut. Then we jump into a 6-man tag team match. It's Spike Dudley and the APA versus Test and the Dudleys. Great match. Very hard-hitting match. There was a spot, though, where the APA, Test was on the floor in the ring. Both APA members tripped over Test.
Yeah. Except Bradshaw like saved it. He like did a move and Farouk was
Whatever.
like, "Oh, let me go over here."
That motherfucker tripped over his feet. The finish was spiked through a table by Test, and then Bradshaw's clothesline from hell. Then Shane runs in with a chair and hits Bradshaw with it. Test and the Dudley Boys win this match. What did you guys think? DJ, what's up?
Oh,
I guess I'll start. It was a the average kind of like Dudley match at this time. I mean, APA was beating the shit out of the Dudley Boys. Freaking Dudley Boys beating the shit out of APA. It was definitely one sided and stuff because Bradshaw and Farouk, they kind of like they really worked it into the Dudley Boys, and they always do that with their like opponents. That was kind of their thing back then, but it was good. Freaking Spike took a bunch of crazy bumps as he's usually known for. Like landing on his shoulder, like dead on his shoulder, and freaking almost he like hit his leg on the announce table. He's just taking all these crazy bumps and everything. It's just like, damn, man. Like Dudley's getting his ass whooped. It was a good match, kind of like a car crash type of match. So, what you would expect from APA back in the day and everything. But it was a good match. It had the fans on their feet the entire night. It was exciting. It was fun. So,
Frank, what'd you think?
I haven't really seen too much of Spike Dudley, so it was kind of cool to see this. My favorite part was when they literally just tossed him like all the way over the ring into like a table or whatever. They literally just threw him like he was an object. So that was pretty funny.
You might want to go on YouTube and see a Spike Dudley compilation because he's been tossed all over the place in different venues, and ECW they threw him in the third row.
Yeah, I gotta see that because he looked like he was so light, like they just chucked him like he's nothing. So it was a good match.
That was his gimmick for a long time.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
Christian then tells Edge he's got a European title shot tomorrow. Edge really didn't seem to give a shit. Then Grandma Edna called Edge and wanted to speak to him. Or did she call Christian and then she wanted to speak to Edge?
He called Christian. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Edge gave him the phone back, and she had hung up already, or something like that. So
Beginning of the feud.
Beginning of the feud because the grandmother chooses Edge over Christian. Then we had a Sean Stasiak. He just barges into Deborah and Steve Austin's dressing room. Deborah starts screaming and yelling at him. Said he needs to knock from now on. And he's just trying to get advice from Steve Austin, and she's like, if you want to impress Steve Austin, beat somebody up. Then we get to the X-Pac versus Tajiri for the WWF Light Heavyweight title. Well, Albert was sprayed in the face with Tajiri's mist after he interfered. X-Pac got the win on Tajiri, and he is a dual champion, WCW Cruiserweight Champion and Light Heavyweight Champion, X-Pac. What'd you think, Eli?
Well, yeah, man. Tajiri, X-Pac, the ECW guy versus a WWF, WCW guy, whatever you want to, call him at that point. They work really well together because, their styles are kind of similar. They're both kind of like, they have that like kickboxing, lucha, cruiserweight style that really works for that match. And, it felt like a WCW like cruiserweight match with those two guys. So it was really exciting, really dope. I loved it.
Hockey fan brought up a point I told you during the show, Frank. Spike Dudley versus Mike Awesome in ECW. He goes, enough said, exactly. The Giant Killer Spike Dudley versus Mike Awesome. I remember there was an ECW. I don't know if it was the pay-per-view or just hardcore TV. Yo, Mike Awesome punched Spike Dudley's girlfriend dead in the teeth. Like her mouth was bleeding and everything. It was like a fucked up thing. Because she's like crying and everything. And Spike Dudley's like, Mike Awesome, I'm coming for you. And they beat the fuck out of each other, man. But Mike Awesome fucked him up. You gotta watch those.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
So what'd you think about X-Pac and Tajiri?
Xbox!
Well, Tajiri's pretty awesome. The mist thing is like hilarious. It was red this time. I think last time it was green. I really like the tarantula move that he does. That's like awesome where he's in the ropes. So I thought it was a pretty good match too. Really, all these matches were really good. I was impressed.
We then cut to Perry Saturn at WWF New York. Moppy is missing, and he has the Mop's photo on a milk carton. He cut a serious promo about this fucking Mop missing. And it's just like, whatever, dude. Then we cut to Rhino and Stephanie backstage, talking about beating up Chris Jericho. Then we cut to Rhino versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho wins by Rhino tapping out to the walls. What did you think about this match? I thought it was hard-hitting as far as... it was kind of like a brawl with some classic Jericho in it. And obviously it's Rhino, so he was goring him left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you think?
And, the whole gimmick of the match was like Chris Jericho couldn't beat Rhino, or he hasn't beaten Rhino. So, like, this was kind of like their blow-off match, the big blow-off. And, you had your moments where you thought Rhino was going to, like, tap out Jericho with his own finisher and everything. You saw the crowd just go nuts. Rhino's doing the balls of Jericho and everything. It's a classic, I guess you would say, like an ECW style kind of, like, technical match between these two guys who, never really, like, fought before, but it's kind of like an ECW dream match, or fought before an ECW is what I mean. But it was good. I mean, these are two people you never would have expected, like, in a year prior to have been in a match together, and now, like, here they are, SummerSlam. This is like their fourth freaking match or whatever it was at this time.
That's what was good about this whole summer of 2001. All three federations came together, and you saw things you wouldn't imagine in January. You'd be watching at SummerSlam Jericho versus Rhino.
You're watching Tajiri.
Half the matches on this card, even.
Tajiri fighting X-Pac, and, like, that match, again, was great, too. I mean, all these matches were, like, 3 matches people didn't know they wanted, and they were getting them this entire summer.
Frank, what'd you think of the match?
I thought the whole, like, build-up thing was funny about, like, Stephanie's boobs and stuff. The Jericho kiss thing was kind of messed up, but it was still pretty funny.
Yeah, Jericho grabbed Stephanie after he calls her a huge slut and everything, and then he makes out with her. It's like, I mean, but Jericho's known to be a hypocrite these days.
No.
But the worst thing was, Heyman goes, he forced her against her will, and I was like, yo, Peacock is cutting that out. That ain't gonna make it. So what else? That was it?
She was, like, vomiting. Like, that was pretty funny. And I like when Jericho was, like, falling and he got half gored, like, as he was falling. That was pretty cool. So it was a good match. I liked it.
Then we cut to The Rock and William Regal speak about the title match that The Rock is in later tonight. And Stasiak just randomly runs into a wall. Loud. Like he crashed into a fucking wall. And The Rock and Regal just, like, ignore it and just keep talking. Then we cut to the match that Anthony jumped in for. Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam for the WWF Hardcore title. The former WWF title. It was a ladder match. There were ladder spots, botch spots. At one point, Jeff Hardy was hanging on the thing that the belt was hung on. And RVD went to fucking kick him, and RVD they just didn't connect.
He completely missed.
Completely missed him. It looked
felt
like
all weird.
Goofball.
Yeah.
And then there was a ladder spot that Jeff Hardy fucking fucked up on. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a really good match. I mean, we talked last month about their Invasion match.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, took it up a notch a little bit. I mean, it was good. These guys work good together. What did you guys think? We'll start with Eli, Frank, and then Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff and Rob never, this isn't like their first rodeo together, I guess. Rob debuted against Jeff when Rob first came to WWF. Again, it wasn't like they were wrestling like the entire.
I think that was like a little teaser to those old fans that caught those old matches.
if you were watching back then you knew like, yo, RVD and Jeff, they're gonna like, blow the roof off the place. Especially with the Invasion match, which was also a great match. This match took it like into another level, and they would just have matches throughout, the entire year into the next year and everything together and everything. And that was what was great, like with Jeff and Rob and everything. They really went together. They had a chemistry. The botch spots too that you were talking about, the one with the ladder, like he tries to like he Rob throws him off the ladder and Jeff like tries to, do the low blow thing or whatever. He gets his nuts caught in the rope and freaking he completely misses and like his leg hits the rope and he bounces back and like hits his head. There were multiple times too where they're just flying in and out of the ring off the ladder and they're like just they had like 20 concussions in this match, like alone. Like it was crazy. It was a high spots type of match, and it was really really fun to see these guys hurt the hell out of each other and get injured, shorten their careers.
What did you think, Frank?
I love RVD, so this was good for me. I love I love all the flying around, like Eli said. That was awesome. They did the spot where Jeff Hardy was hanging onto the belt and swinging back and forth. So all in all, it was just a good match. Typical RVD. I liked it.
Anthony, you popped in for this one. What'd you think? Your two main
Yeah.
guys over here.
Yeah, I mean, I love their Invasion, what they did on Invasion, and this was definitely another, just kind of like another level. And I love just, they're both high flyers, and I love RVD as well, especially this era. And Jeff Hardy. I mean, they're both so good, and there was just a great balance. And again, it's kind of interesting that you have again, like kind of like a common theme of the pay-per-view. It seems it's just like you're kind of getting a good matchup of guys that you wouldn't probably not normally think that they would be fighting. And yeah, this really was. I especially like the ending where he just falls over on the ropes as well. That was really cool. And yeah, I mean, even besides a few botches, I mean, they performed really well. And I always like that Jeff Hardy looks like a gothic kid from Hot Topic in the early 2000s. I think that's funny. But yeah, no, this was a really enjoyable match, and I think it just kind of got better from what I saw. Of course, I didn't see the first couple, but each match after this as well was just like it kind of kept getting better with just crazy shit going on and oh shit moments.
Yeah,
I liked it.
We then had Diamond Dallas Page and Canyon, who are the WWF Tag Team Champions, versus Taker and Undertaker. Diamond Dallas Page and Canyon, the WWF Tag Team Champions, versus The Undertaker and Kane, who are the WCW Tag Team Champions. Winner take all for the tag team titles. Undertaker and Kane win the match. They win the WWF Tag Team titles. They're now dual champions. Canyon escapes the cage earlier in the match, but doesn't realize that he left DDP in there to fend for himself. To the point where Canyon's like, yeah, I'm not going back in there. And he said, fuck it. And he left.
Yeah. Trade DDP again.
So, yeah, what'd you guys say? This match was alright. I mean, the whole Undertaker DDP thing was just fucking dumb to begin with, but it was cool but weird. I don't understand this thing where they put WCW belts on WWF guys and WWF belts on WCW guys. Like, I never understood that. Like, what was the point?
Yeah, I didn't get it either. It was like they swapped each other.
The titles, but they took them back anyway. I don't know.
Made no sense.
What'd you guys think?
Seeing Canyon and WWF, granted, it was for like, 2 seconds in the cage match. Well, this is his first pay-per-view too. SummerSlam.
I'm doing the.
It sucks what happened. It sucks what happened,
awesome.
you know, with Canyon over his career. They never really did anything with him after this. It was a decent, you know, it was an okay match. It was kind of like, you know, the not really the blow off to the whole Undertaker feud, but you know, it was just like a here's the continuation of this storyline, and that's what we're getting here. Here's an extra stake to that. Here's the titles. The titles are on the line and everything. Um, there was that part where you know Undertaker was like, you know what? If you leave right now, you better not come, you know, come back or anything like that. You better leave my wife alone or whatever. And Kane, you think Kane and Taker are about to turn on each other, and Kane's like, or Undertaker's like, fuck that. He throws him down off of the cage and everything. Um, but there were just moments like that that were, you know, pretty. They were all right, but yeah, I don't know. It was a decent match, but nothing crazy, nothing like the other matches.
Frank, what did you think?
The match itself was all right, but the best thing to me was that like segment they showed where DDP has the shrine with like the CRT. So like,
Yeah.
but it's just so funny because he's supposed to be watching her, and it's like she's doing like the most random stuff, like she's spraying the dog in the face with the hose and like brushing her hair. Like it's so stupid, but it's just so funny. But yeah, the match was all right. I like the part like Eli said where he's like, "You can leave right now, and I'll let you live." It was just stupid, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't. That was probably like one of the weakest ones on the card. I think it just didn't like really do it for me, but it was all right.
Anthony, what'd you think?
Yeah, it definitely didn't have the punch like the ladder match, but I think this, you know, I mean, we've seen the Brothers of Destruction in better matches, definitely. Um, they're always my favorite to like duo together, and you know, I've definitely seen them in better matches. But the DDP thing was also interesting because you mentioned like the whole like he would be like, all right, let's try to go by the script, and Undertaker's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Um, it's very interesting because I wonder like how he wanted the match to go. Um, but the way it went down, like if Undertaker kind of took, if anything, he probably saved it because he saved it from being like lackluster. If DDP wanted to be more like cookie cutter, I thought the promo was funny too. I thought that was great. Like that was a good like little build up to it. It was a decent match, but like again, I think like if Undertaker didn't really like take the wheel on this one, it might have been even worse, if not like just kind of like boring. So, but yeah, I thought that stuff was cool. I just always like seeing Kane and Undertaker together, so I thought it was okay. But it definitely, I don't know what, you know, again, like seeing like them two together, like it's always fun to watch. But I'm not too familiar with Chris Canyon, but
Man,
they did okay.
Good.
Yeah, they did okay, you know. So
then we cut to a backstage segment. The Rock is fucking threatening a doctor. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He called this guy like a motherfucker, and he pointed at him and was like,
told him to leave.
and then Stasiak runs in between him and the doctor. They ignore it. They're still fucking threatening each other. And then The Rock goes, "You motherfucker, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, whoa. He's really pissed off at this doctor. Then we cut to the WWF Championship match. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
it's still called Steve Austin.
I haven't... Listen, I got really bad post-nasal drip. And I haven't drank anything the entire time we watched the show. So maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin. The WWF title match. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kurt Angle. Right? Stone Cold Steve Austin retains. There's a ton of referee bumps. And then Nick Patrick disqualifies Stone Cold for beating the shit out of all the WWF referees. But Nick Patrick DQ'd him, wink wink, because Nick Patrick is an Alliance referee. And Stone Cold is the head of the Alliance. So this match was fantastic. Great story. They obviously were building it so that they can run with these two for the next couple of months, which they did. And this was the great kickoff for that. Because Kurt Angle got really screwed when he was beating the fuck out of Steve Austin. So what'd you think, Eli?
man, bloodbath of a damn match. At some point, like Kurt Angle during the match, he gets cut open and he's bleeding like all over the damn place. Like I don't remember what he did, but I just remember Austin just punched him once, and then the next minute, freaking Kurt Angle's got blood all over his face. He's bleeding on the ref. He's bleeding on Austin. He's bleeding
The ref's
everywhere.
arm was all fucking red.
Yeah, Earl Hebner was freaking blood all
Hugh
over him and
Hefner?
everything.
What?
Oh my god.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner was the special referee for this match. That'd be funny. But no, it was a great match. Austin, Kurt Angle, you know, it only makes you think too, because like the entire time I was watching, and I was like, yo, what if like Austin had never broken his neck or anything, and like this was like WCW like Austin, like we would have gotten some like cooler spots maybe out of Austin, but brawling, Steve Austin that we all came to know in WWF, that worked really well for this match because he's beating the crap out of Kurt. Kurt isn't even really doing too many of his like scientific type spots. He's going at it with Austin, and that's what makes this match kind of like really stand out. Is because Kurt he's an Olympic gold medalist, so you think he's going to be doing all these kind of scientific moves like he normally does with like all these other wrestlers and stuff like that, but they're just going at it. It's a brawl. There's the titles on the line, the whole alliance thing, and the ending of the match was perfect too. It saves both guys. It makes them look tough as hell.
And Kurt Angle beat the fuck out of Nick Patrick at the end.
Yeah. So you get something good at the end. Like you always like to say, you get kind of a redemption a little bit. Kurt Angle gets the upper hand.
What did you think, Frank?
I think this was the best match on the card. I love the ending where Kurt is like you robbed me. Like he literally is just like dead. Like he did all that stuff, and then it's like, oh, like you get screwed at the end. I love how Stone Cold was just killing the refs. They were just sending them in one after the other and just being like slaughtered.
Highway robbery.
Yeah, this was definitely my favorite match. It was awesome. There's a lot of great stuff in it. The blood everywhere was pretty crazy. Like they were out in the crowd. It was nuts. So I like this.
What did you think, Matt?
Best match for sure. And it's the longest, so there's just all shit going on. So, you get pretty much 22 minutes of these guys just beating the shit out of each other, and you could just tell that they were pissed and that they did a great job keeping. And I like how you had Shane McMahon, I'm pretty sure, or was because he just stunnered him right like out of the ring. So I just like that, like he's beating the shit out of him, and then he has time to like go out of the ring and stunner him, and then he just goes back in the ring. Like that's just so funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Angle being a bloody mess, them just kind of like what Eli said, like you would expect him to kind of be more of his like, planned out, wrestling kind of mentality, but now it's like no, like he's just really pissed, and it's kind of like a carried over storyline. So at this point, if they didn't make this the best match, in my opinion, it would have been, disappointing because, the Rock and the Booker T one we're going to talk about it is good, but this definitely stole the show. Just because, come on, it's Kurt Angle and Austin. I love Kurt Angle. I love Austin. This was just a really entertaining, fun match, and you can really tell that they were just going all at it, and the refs just getting sent in, and they were just getting turned over, and it never seemed like it was going to end because there was just so many bodies laid out in the ring. Definitely best match of the bill for sure.
Then the main event for the WCW title, WCW World Heavyweight Championship. The Rock versus Booker T and Shane McMahon. The Rock wins the WCW title. The APA run out because remember earlier we said that Shane McMahon hit Bradshaw in the back of the head with a chair, or he hit him in the front of the head with the chair. Yeah, Bradshaw and Farouk came out and beat the fuck out of Shane McMahon, and that led to Booker T doing the spin-a-rooney. Booker T gets right up into a rock bottom, boom, 1, 2, 3. It's over. The Rock is the WCW champion. Something I didn't think I would see in January of 2001. I never thought in January 2001, The Rock's going to be the WCW champion in August. No one saw that coming.
No.
Great match. Booker T was great as usual. The Rock is The Rock. He's fantastic. They beat the fuck out of each other. They had a hell of a match. And this was the first time they were really one-on-one with each other. Really good. What'd you think?
Dream match of a lifetime right here.
It was a great match, yes.
Like the main event guy, WCW the year prior, and then you got the main event guy, WWE the last couple, 3-4 years, however long it's been at this time, and it was just like you loved it because not only it was a good match, don't get me wrong, but like everybody else was saying, I liked Steve Austin and Angle just like a bit more, but this was just that dream match, and that's what kind of gave it that impact. It was like you got the WCW guy, WWF guy, they're beating the crap out of each other, It's just a grudge match at this point, but you can kind of tell with the belt being on the line, The Rock's like, yo, I'm back. I want the title. I want some gold around my waist. Booker T, he's kind of trying to get over on The Rock.
Scorpion King is filmed, bitch. I'm back.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the new guy on the block pretty much in the WWF, and it was great. It was a great match.
Frank, what'd you think?
I thought this was a good match. It was like literally like two Super Saiyans going at it. It was pretty sweet. They were all over the place, but it was good. I mean, it was just a solid match. I loved it. I like Booker T. I like The Rock. They had everything I'd want in a match. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, this was great. I mean, this is definitely, like my second favorite from what I saw. And, I mean, again, the last match was really good, I think. But this was good because, Booker T, and again, you had, Shane McMahon kind of like fucking with stuff too. So with both of them, it's great to see them kind of, go back and forth. They're both hitting finishers. And I didn't really know what was going on with the APA entirely, but I also thought it was funny when Bradshaw came and just clotheslined Shane. That was funny. He literally got it looked like he died. He literally got hit so hard.
It was a payback from earlier in the night, when he hits him with the chair and everything.
Yeah, so, I didn't see that, but it makes sense. It's he got fucking sideswiped completely. They took him out. I like seeing the
WCW logo.
And it's I like the fact that with Rock, he did the people's elbow, and then Shane pulled the referee out of the ring and stuff like that. It was funny that they were, they're obviously in the crowd beating the shit out of each other, and all this other outside influence was going on, but they still, I mean, it was especially how it happened. Super Rock quickly got up, and he just completely fucking rock bottomed him out of the spinneroonie, basically. That was just such a great way to end the pay-per-view, and it was a good way to kind of especially with Rock coming back, that's a great match. Him and Booker T are great wrestlers, and I think the way they ended it and everything was a good little punctuation mark of being okay, this is The Rock's back, and this is great ending because if you look at Invasion and this next to each other, again, what Perry said, there's a good balance of seeing matches and seeing these individuals together where it was very unique. It made for a unique time in that era, and I can see why you guys look fondly back on it as well, because it was actually giving you something different. It wasn't the same routine over and over again, because even with the Attitude Era and the shows, if you don't switch it up at a certain point, it's going to get stale, and this was an era where things were happening that were unfortunate and fortunate, but it ended up kind of working out because you got some of these guys together, and it was kind of weird with the whole belt swapping thing where it's they would get the belt and then WWF people would get the WCW belt. So that was a little interesting to see and just to hear, because we're wait, what? That doesn't seem right. But that's just the way that these pay-per-views were in this era. So I thought it was a great little ending for everything, even though I didn't see the beginning of it. But with these guys right here, really good cast of people on the bill, And it's the way you do a pay-per-view, man. I mean, this between all the ones we've watched in 2001, starting with WrestleMania, the energy has been captured each event, even though storylines might be better than others and something's been it seems like they were still going for to really try to knock each one off of like the top of like, okay, this is going to be the best pay-per-view and this one would be good. Like they kept building. So I think you can kind of feel that from this era for sure. And I could definitely understand why this is like, a really good era to kind of look back on 20 years later.
Oh yeah, everything just built up like up until like WrestleMania 18, and then like a little bit after, like 2002, and ultimately kind of concluding with The Rock and Austin at WrestleMania 19. I mean, it just kept getting like better and better.
Yeah.
At that point, you had a lot of great talent because of the invasion. More people from WCW started coming in later on, obviously, but like you just had a whole bunch of great talent that were in the WWF at the time. So it was just amazing to see them, especially on like SummerSlam, which is one of the big, for pay-per-view, the WWF. So it was great. Thing too, like during the whole match with Booker T and Rock, they kept calling the bookend like a rip off of the Rock Bottom and everything. I know Perry was getting kind of mad at that.
Not bad at that back in the day. It was like, dude, he was doing the bookend way before the Rock was even in wrestling.
Yeah, if anything, he got it from him.
Yeah, and JR's like, oh, he's ripping him off. He needs to get his own material. It's like, what?
Like, come on.
Like, dude, I understand Booker T's the heel, but you're like fucking weaponizing like the situation here.
Rock was doing the fucking shoulder breaker as his finish before when Booker T was doing the bookend to people.
Well, I think that might be it for the show. I just want to say it was a great show. Let me show you the poster of next month's event that me and Eli are going to be covering. I don't know, Frank, if you want to jump in that or if you're going to stay out of it, but WWF Unforgiven. And I think you guys should look at the chat and see what the poster is.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Is that real?
That's the real poster.
It looks like a horror movie.
Or the judges from the Transformers movie.
It's because he's going crazy. So that took place September 23rd, 2001, from the Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh, which is, I guess, the Civic Center, Civic area. Mm-hmm. Civic Arena, if I could read tonight. So September 23rd, 2021, Eli and I will be back. I'm not sure if Frank will be here or Anthony will be here. Anthony's not going to be here. Anthony's going to do Survivor Series. But, yeah. So we will see you all on September 23rd with another pay-per-view recap. We're recapping the entire year of 2001 on pay-per-view. And a little bit of 2002. Not all of it, just some of it. And I think we're going to wrap up these recaps with 2003. I think WrestleMania 19 is going to be the final recap.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll do like ECW One Night Stand or something when that hits 20. So, all right. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all for watching. Everyone stay safe out there. Take care.
Stay safe, guys.
And we'll catch you all later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Sounds good.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Over. Gone.